Hello and happy Thanksgiving. This is Eitan Shalom at the Body Mind Wellness Center in San Diego, and I'd like to talk to you today about my favorite Chinese herb formula for indigestion from overeating. That's the number one reason why I use this formula. So acute indigestion from overeating, and for that reason I recommend people have this in their medicine cabinet. And the name of this formula is Bao He Wan. I think it's backwards on the video. Bao He Wan. And the English name, the translation of that is Preserve Harmony Pill. And the harmony in question here is your harmony in your digestive tract, especially the upper GI, but not limited to the upper GI. This formula is also used for people with weak digestion, who get indigestion easily no matter what they eat. And in those cases, and for example, a good example of that would be a little old lady, patient that I had years ago, who no matter what she ate, she had really embarrassing foul gas. And that went away when I gave her this formula. Now, the reason why this formula worked for her was because it matched her, it didn't just match that symptom. So I wouldn't say that this is across the board a formula for foul gas, but it matched her signs and symptoms. So for example, with that symptom, if she had had a peeled coating on her tongue, I wouldn't have given her this. But she had a thick, greasy coating on her tongue. And she had, in her case, so the point I'm making is, you overeat on Thanksgiving and you get a stomach ache and you get acidic belching, that you feel in the back of your throat. That's an acute case where you got it because you overate. But in a case like that little old lady, she had a weak gut. She had weak digestive tract from early on in her life. That was a chronic problem. So while this was the golden cure for the gas, I was already treating her digestive weakness with classical Chinese acupuncture and other herb formulas that were addressing her complex problem of liver depression, qi stagnation, with weakness of the spleen qi. I'm just rattling off those names so you get the idea that there are patterns of disharmony that are associated with digestive weakness that could include someone who was a premature baby, who came into the world with an inherited weak gut. I mean, just like some people have stronger muscles, some people have stronger guts. And then it could also be somebody who, through errors in diet for over the years, like a patient of mine who drank a 12-pack of beer a night for 3 years, that's going to damage your gut. Or people that overeat chronically or overindulge in sweets. Over time, your digestive tract gets weakened. And then you might get indigestion more easily. But in general, the number one thing that I use this for is people that have digestive discomfort from overeating. Classic, the young person had pizza and beer the night before, and then the next morning they don't feel well. Or somebody had an excessive amount, somebody binged on sweets, which happens in our culture, it's easy to do, and then they felt really full 3 hours later and they didn't feel well. So this is sort of like Drano in a way for the gut when it's involved with overeating, but it's not a purgative. What it does is it stimulates the digestive enzymes that then act to digest the food that's stuck in your stomach. What I love about this formula and why it works better than digestive enzymes, in my experience, is that it contains herbs that digest protein, it contains herbs that digest carbohydrate, and it contains herbs that digest fat, all three. One of the herbs in here, the leading herb, the herb is the highest percentage of herbs in the formula, is krategi fruit, dried krategi fruit. And we find dried krategi fruit in Chinese candies, the most famous one called Ha flakes, H-A-W, because krategi is hawthorn. It's in English or Latin, it's dried hawthorn. In English, it's hawthorn. In Latin, it's krategi. And in Chinese, it's shanja. And this is a very sour fruit that's cooked down as a candy with sugar. And then, but it's not very sweet, but with sugar. And then people will just eat a little bit of that after a meal. And the Chinese are very big on, they didn't have ice cream and chocolate. Their dessert was fruit. And then a lot of their desserts contain healthy things in it, like red beans, black beans, sesame. But they're also fond of little fruits that are digestives. Another one would be dried tangerine peel. So this formula actually has dried tangerine peel as well. It has dried radish seed. And, if you think about it, if you ever go to Mexico, Mexicans will tend to eat radish with carne asada. They'll serve it with carne asada because that's a heavy, very nutrient-dense food. And then the radish stimulates your digestive enzymes and thing is, the herbs in here contain digestive enzymes themselves as well as stimulating your digestive enzymes. There are 3, 6, 8 herbs in here. Generally speaking, in Chinese medicine, when we give herbs, we give them in formulas. So the cardinal sign, a sign is what you can see objectively or palpate, like the pulse, whereas a symptom is something that the patient reports. So the primary sign for the correct use of this is a thick coating on the tongue, which if you've overeaten, you will get. If you have food stagnation, you will get that thick coating. And some people can overeat a little bit and they don't get that thick coating and they don't get any symptoms. But the symptoms that are associated with this are, that sense of fullness or distension in the upper GI or in the abdomen itself after eating that doesn't go away even after time. So, you could feel full after a meal if you don't overeat, you feel full and you feel fine and then that goes away. But this is where 2 hours later or an hour and a half later, you just feel excessively full. Pain can be a symptom as well. A sense of fullness right up in the throat or just below here's my sternum, just like right there. That's called glomus. And then the distension in the abdomen or gastric region, foul belching, especially foul belching with acid, especially if you overeat spicy food and oily food, you can get that. I've had experienced that, especially with Indian food, where you belch. And sometimes I feel like there was something wrong with the food. But where, you're belching and then it comes right up to here. Now, I personally am very fond of drinking mineral water in a case like that as well. Or if I were to get that and it wasn't spicy hot food, I might, and I recommend this a lot, is to make really strong ginger tea with fresh ginger root and drink a little bit of that. But not if there's much acid, more if you're belching. And especially, I recommend that to people if they overate cold food. Like they have that experience and they overate ice cream. And then also nausea, vomiting, even diarrhea. So this isn't a primary formula for treating diarrhea unless it's diarrhea from food stagnation. So that's Bao He Wan, Preserve Harmony Pill for food stagnation from overeating. And it really brings quick relief. And the key point, though, is if you have that as a chronic problem, no matter what you eat, then we have to treat the root of the problem with other Chinese herb formulas, and usually with acupuncture and moxibustion as well. Okay, thanks for tuning in. Have a nice Thanksgiving.